Hi, everyone. So I had a lot of dreams when I was 5. From being a singer, to a psychologist, to an artist. I just wanted to make an impact, and I wanted a life that was exciting. I'm sure many of you guys had dreams when you were 5. How many of you have actually held on to them? See, that's interesting, because I think there's this pivotal moment in all of our young adult lives where we're asked to really think very deeply. You're not 5 anymore. You have to figure out what you really want to do, where you really want to go, and what you're really going to be. And for me, that moment was when I was 16. I was getting ready to apply to college, and I had created a very solid, research-based plan, statistically proofful, like it was going to be great. You want to know what it is? I was going to be married at 21 with my economics degree from Harvard. Spoiler alert, that didn't happen. But I had created a vision for myself based on the need to control my past. Growing up, I had a wonderful family. They were great, but not everything was perfect. My mother struggled with drug addiction, and my father with alcoholism. We didn't always have money, and by the time I was in high school, and my parents divorced when I was 16, I'd made a very clear decision. I was going to be rich, I was going to be hot, and I was going to have a wonderful marriage, and I was going to be the most intelligent thing on the planet, and nothing was ever going to stop me. So when I went to apply for college, I applied to 26 schools. And spoiler alert, didn't get into Harvard, but no bother. I ended up at Northwestern University, and known for not being the first choice, but I was really excited to be at one of the top 10 schools. And then I was like, I'm going to do economics. But the first thing that happens, and some of my peers maybe understand this when you step on a college, university campus, there's something that they tell you. You're probably not going to keep your major. What you came in here with probably won't stay with you. Be ready to adjust. And I was like, oh no, not me, not this girl. She's going to be an economics major to the day she dies. Well, December comes, and a C- in microeconomics later, the intro class. I had quickly understood that wasn't going to be my thing. But beyond the bad grade, I had come to realize that I didn't love it. It wasn't what made me happy. But finally, I was like, you know, I'm pretty cute. I've failed 2 out of 3, but I can totally be wifed by spring quarter of senior year. And I gravitated someone who I thought would fit my dreams, and quickly realized the complicated nature of relationships. That relationship ended up being abusive and manipulative. And the hardest part was, when I was sitting in my dorm room, when I was 19, I had to understand that I let it happen. And I'd let all these things that I'd wanted to be become more important than what I truly wanted to follow in life. I was harboring all my aspirations, putting them aside and saying, oh, it's totally fine, it's okay, because life is not as bad as it was, and I'm going to be okay. I'm going to make this work for me. And what ended up happening to me as I experienced this is I just broke one night. I was depressed. I wasn't happy. And I had this dream, back then I thought it was a nightmare, of a 5-year-old little girl. And she was happy, she was excited. She was the girl that wanted to be a singer one day, the psychologist the next, the artist the next week. And when I woke up, she was just gone. She wasn't there. And when I looked in the mirror, I didn't really know who I was. I thought the devil I knew was better than the devil I didn't know. And when it came down to it, I was so afraid of learning a new environment, so afraid of becoming a new person, I thought it would be better to stick to the status quo. However, I know I'm not alone. The way we process our past experiences eventually turn into habits. It is ingrained in our brains to somewhat, in a lot of ways, hate uncertainty. And our brains hate uncertainty because our brains react to it by responding with fear. So let's break that down. In a recent study at Caltech, a neuroeconomist studied subjects' brains and imaged them as they were asked to make increasingly uncertain decisions in many types of things in their life, like driving or going grocery shopping. As the decisions and the scenarios became more uncertain, the subjects and their decisions became more erratic and more irrational. On top of that, as the subjects and the scenarios became more uncertain, the subjects' brains translated their sort of process and thinking to the limbic system in the brain. And that is what processes our emotions of fear and anxiety. So here's the thing. Our brains are wired to love control. When we see meaninglessness, we want to create meaning, which is why we think there's cheese in the sky. Or when we see uncertainty, we want to find the certainty in every situation. Another research study suggests that when we are faced with a situation, either something bad can happen to us, or something really, we just don't know what's going to happen. Most of the time, subjects are going to pick the bad thing because we know what's coming next. So here's the effect. We stay in relationships we don't want. We keep jobs that don't make us happy. We stay in situations that no longer serve us because we know what's coming next. And for me in my life, as I've started to think about it, and as I sort of fell through this train of understanding and waking up and not knowing who I was, the girl in the mirror, I had to kind of think about two things and two subsets of questions that I want you to think about right now. What made you happy when you got up this morning? What was the last thing you thought about when you went to sleep? What did the 5-year-old you dream about? When was the last time you laughed, or smiled, or cried? What was it about? Because when you lean into that thing, whatever that thing is, it could be cupcakes, it could be, for me, art and creativity. When you lean into that thing, it allows you to begin to process what you really want in life. But not only that, it allows you to create some thread of your own purpose that allows you to fight for something as you face uncertainty, as you continue forward. For me, after I was 19, sitting in my dorm room, I realized 5-year-old me had a lot of things I needed to talk to her about. And when it came down to it, I decided that I would start my company, People6. We're a student-led digital marketing agency that works to be a transformative partner with our clients to create research, to create content, but also to work through purpose, to untap potential where people don't really see it. And for me, that was what really gave me purpose. It made me excited because there was a chance for students like me, for people like me who felt like they had one path to do something if they had the talent to do so. So, as you think about uncertainty, it's okay to feel anxious about the future. The future is filled with crazy things and uncertainties. But here's the difference between someone that stays in the path of feeling lost and hopeless and someone that can keep moving forward, is that they find the action, they start thinking about what they want, they take precautions to it, they do something. They start moving forward in whatever way possible to try to make sense of the things that they truly want so that they can move forward. For you all, I want you to remember the 3 things and the 3 answers to those questions I had asked you earlier. What got you up this morning? What made you laugh? And what are you really fighting for? Thank you so much.